Okay. Well, let me welcome you back to the Withlacoochee River Railroad and the Withlacoochee River Report. This will be number 104. Yeah, I know I made a mistake the last time when I did my title. on number 103, it turned out that I had put the 102 title on. Well, that does happen occasionally. As you can see, I'm attempting to run my passenger train today, and for some reason, every time it comes around this curve, the train uncouples from the engines. And I don't know why. It just does. So I'm attempting to kind of try to figure that out. And it doesn't matter whether I have the baggage car at the front or the coach, that heavyweight coach at the front. Probably wouldn't matter if I switched the train around a little bit again and put the regular coach or even the dome coach up front. It probably wouldn't matter. It's got something to do with the track work. I noticed that I've got two 5-inch pieces here. And what I'm thinking is maybe what I need to do is take and exchange that for a regular 10-inch piece of track. I do have some around, so I will eventually get to that. I do have a couple of shots of the train going over the bridge, though, and it looks pretty good. As you can see, I've got this here reefer that, and maybe if I put that at the front of the train, because I don't think it's a problem with the couplers. I don't think it's a problem with the engine or with the dummy unit there. There was a problem with it. I did fix that problem, but aside from that, there doesn't, it's just, I think it's more of a problem with the track. It doesn't do that with freight trains, either direction. But for some reason, the passenger train doesn't like coming through here. And it's right there where you see the two 5-inch pieces of track. I'm going to have to get that figured out because, I want my track working good. I don't know. It could be because of the time of the year and metal shrunk up because of the cold and stuff like that. It's not cold right now. It's up in the 60s now. Might even be up in the 70s because, it's a beautiful day today. But I'm getting this reefer set up to run with the passenger train. As you can see, it's an express reefer. It's a 50-foot reefer. It's an old 2-rail car that I picked up probably right when I started getting back into O-scale again. As if I can get it on the track. Those old Walther's trucks on there. I don't know what the origin of this reefer is. I believe that it's an old Walther's kit. Might be a Silver Streak. Not a bad looking car. It has some shortcomings in the detail department, are all right. But it's, I've got the old couplers off of it and had to modify the underframe a little bit, or this piece right here on both ends. What it had was a kind of a knuckle coupler. I don't think they were Monarchs. They weren't as big as Monarchs. It was obviously a scale coupler. And I had to dig some weights out of it. I had cut a hole in the bottom of the car to get the weights out, as you can see right there. That wood was hard too. I had to use the rotary tool to do it with. Need to oil and grease those trucks. But this is the crud I pulled out of it. Looks like that old Templo metal that Walters used to sell. So that's some pretty handy stuff to have there. Yes, we're still working on the F9 project. I haven't done anything over the last couple of weeks because it's just been too cold at night out here. And I had a couple of days where I actually got some work. We do have a train show coming up next week. Next Saturday over at Dana's. We did have one that was coming up later in February, the 28th of February. We were thinking about going to it. The problem was now that show's been canceled due to lack of interest. That was in Newport Richey of all things. You would think that Newport Richey wouldn't be all that, well, what can you say? So Newport Richey is kind of out now, but we do have another show at Dana's in March. And it'll be the same date in March, the second Saturday. Because this isn't a leap year, the month is only 28 days long. So, happy birthday to those that were born on the 29th of February anyway. As y'all know, the Lionel catalogs are out. Talk about some ridiculous prices. Woo! Yeah, the Lionel catalog is out. The Third Rail catalog is out. And the Atlas O catalog. I do not have my copies of the Third Rail or Atlas O catalogs. I have to look at those online because, well, Dana doesn't really get those in. And I'm sure Atlas O and Third Rail both want money for their catalogs, for their paper catalogs. But it looks like the prices have gone up a little bit. I liked some of what I saw. I didn't like it much. I think they doing way. Lionel is pushing that, 250th anniversary of America thing. And while I have no problem with them celebrating that, why didn't they bring those cars out in the last, why didn't they put that out last year? None of those cars are going to be available until after all the celebration and everything is over. And then they want ridiculous money for them. It's not that and of course I'm not going to be buying any of that anyway. That's that gimmicky stuff. That's that collector stuff. It'll probably never leave the box. If it does, it'd be only by somebody who would actually run them, like Eric Siegel or Chris's Trains and Things, or somebody like that. I don't like gimmicky stuff. I shouldn't say I don't like it, because the T1 that they put in Lionel lines, yeah, that one I kind of do like. That's more of a cool joke than anything. And I say cool joke, not cruel joke. I wish I could afford the T1 that's coming out. I wish I could afford a number of those freight cars and passenger cars. The diesels, I'm only down to a couple of steam engines now. I've got an 040, an 080, and a Mogul. I've sold off all my other steam engines, which is fine with me. I also, I'd still like to have a Hudson. You know, but I want a full scale one. I don't want none of this semi-scale stuff. I really don't. So I'm certainly not going to pay the prices that Lionel is wanting these days, or about half of those vendors at train shows think, you know, if it's a Hudson, it's worth big bucks, right? Not necessarily. Yeah, I configured my passenger train a little bit different this time because I was having trouble with, as I explained before, the train would come around that one curve and then just come undone from the engines. What the heck is going on here? Okay, I am running KD couplers on the engines, and I'm thinking that when I get this Dairyman's League reefer up and running, because I got to put KD couplers on that anyway, it might work fine. We might have that might cure the problem because I'll just run that at the front of the passenger train, which is fine. I just got to get it set up to where I've got a way of mounting the KD couplers. I got that car for a whopping $5. Whopping $5 for that. Like I said, I don't know. I believe it's a kit car. I doubt that it's scratch built. Obviously, it was a kit when it was brought out at a time when cars like that didn't have that great a detail on them. The detail is good except for the ladders. The ladders are wrong on it. I noticed there's no icing. No ice things on it. Probably it was used. It does say milk on the side of the car, so it was probably just simply an insulated box car for milk, and it would be on the head end of a passenger train because those would tend to be express trains and stuff like that, and they'd get it to the dairy processor in time. And I mean, you know, I've been sitting on the car. I didn't know what I was going to do with it because, yeah, obviously it's a two-rail car, which is fine. But it was way too old a car for the two-rail stuff that I collect. I do mostly more modern stuff like 1970s, 80s, 90s stuff, you know, on the two-rail division. I mean, all I've got in the way of two-rail motive power is a red Caboose GP9. Yeah, I would gladly take and have an Atlas F9 from 1970 also, or anything else I could get my hands on. But in the meantime, since I can't seem to afford any engines at the moment, especially out of the Lionel catalog, that's the way things happen. I should give up vaping, I guess. Anyway, that's really about all I've got this week. Is we do have a train show coming up this next coming Saturday. Got birds flying in and out of the building here. I got a big hole on the side of the not in the roof itself, but on the eave. Yeah, figures, huh? This is the side back over here that gets hit by all the weather, and that's why the plywood that gets put up there, even if you paint it, it has a tendency to rot real quick. So, and what little plywood is left up there was put up there about 20 years ago. So, and this plywood has been here all these years that I've owned the place. On this end that you're seeing from the viewpoint in the camera there. So, and that's been up all along. That's never been changed. You see, we don't get our weather from the east very often. We do get it, but just not often. So I'm going to have to figure out if, like I said, this is the only engines that have problems going that way and coming back this way. And it's not the engines that are the problem. It appears that it's the... and I don't know if that track in there is out of gauge or what. It could be. I could have it down too tight. But it doesn't seem to affect any of the other engines or the freight cars any. It doesn't affect the heavyweight cars usually. It's just with that pair of engines. So, I don't know. But we're going to see what we can do with this this refrigerator car here. It's like I said, it's an express car, so and it's riding on express refrigerator trucks. Once I have the KD couplers in and mounted, and yeah, we'll give it a try then. Until next time, happy railroading.